Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. It's Jeff Zito and another episode of the Celebrity Jobber podcast, which you can check out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, streams wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're actually one of the top shows on Apple Podcasts on the music interviews chart. Please subscribe. We'd love a 5-star rating, leave a review, and check out past episodes on celebrityjobber.com. So, not always talking to musicians, but celebrities, whether they're actors or comedians. Like my guest today, Rob Schineder. You might know Rob from some of his movie credits: Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, The Hot Chick, The Benchwarmers. You may remember him in the early 90s as a cast member of SNL. He was the Richmeister, making some copies. And you may or may not know that he happens to be the father of singer Elle King. This is a little bit controversial because Rob is the guy that took a hard right a few years ago, and something really started bothering him. And I really wish that whatever side that you are politically, I really feel like it's important to be able to have these kind of discussions without people getting bent out of shape and going crazy. I have some really good friends that, I disagree with politically, but for them, I kind of agree with them. I'm like, oh, well, if that's important to you and that's important to you, that's how you should vote. This is America. So anyway, this might be a little controversial because you wouldn't want to invite Rob Schineder to your Thanksgiving, okay? They always tell you don't talk politics at Thanksgiving. I'd like to point out he was a registered Democrat from 1984 to 2013, then a registered Republican from 2013 to 2017, and from 2017 until now, he is a registered independent. But Rob Schineder, again, I feel like he was pretty courageous in coming out against these things that he did not believe in, like censorship. And Rob has pretty much geared his comedy now into this direction, which could have been career suicide for him. There are a lot of people these days that keep their opinions about politics to themselves in fear of possibly getting canceled. Rob Schineder doubles down, and for that, I admire him. So in this episode, we're going to talk a lot about what Rob Schineder believes is going on, his new book, his first job. So listen to this with an open mind. Former SNL cast member, comedian Rob Schineder, you can do it, is my guest this week on Celebrity Jobber.
The Celebrity Jobber podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
My curiosity, I wanted to know, when you went to college, what did you think you were going to do when you graduated college? What did you think your job was going to be?
My goodness. I always wanted to be an actor and a comedian. I knew enough to avoid a real job because that was that was something that seemed to require work and concentration. Whereas jokes, I could do 30 seconds of a joke or 2 minutes at the most. And so this book that I wrote, You Can Do It, Speak Your Mind, America, it's a free speech book, is the closest to an actual job I've ever had. And I got to tell you, it is not, if I would have known it was 9 months work, I would have never done it.
So I hear you. Just hearing somebody talk about writing a book scares me. I get like anxiety over it. Where do you think it was, Rob, where things kind of clicked for you? Because I'll tell you, honestly, for me, things clicked for me yesterday. I was really afraid to maybe speak to you completely about things before yesterday, and something clicked yesterday for me, and I was like, I just want to pay lower taxes.
What happens is now, in a free society like we have, and with this unfettered free speech, not speech, without consequences, but speech that the government can't cut your head off for, like they did in France. I mean, in France, they had, it's the rights of the citizen, rights of man and of the citizen, which was their free speech in 1789. It lasted all of 4 years, 48 months before they started cutting people's heads off. But here in the United States, it's from 1791, almost 250 years now, 240 years we've had free speech, and that's why people it's the beacon call of freedom throughout the world. That's why people aren't climbing over fences to get out of America. They're not swimming away to Cuba. They're swimming to get to America because America has opportunity, and that free speech is the, they didn't make it the Second Amendment. They made it the first because the founding fathers realized the real, the real tool, the real gun against tyranny isn't just guns, it's free speech. That's even more important than guns. And then guns a second, of course. And they lived through real tyranny. So we are seeing an encroachment on free speech, for sure. And what happens is in this free society, you have bad actors. And these bad actors are manipulating the system. And so they're trying to make you, and they're grifters, they're these race hustlers. They're trying to convince people that we're living a systemic racist system, and you're automatically racist. And say, what? I don't feel racist. Yeah, it's because you're so racist you can't even feel it anymore. And they're using our goodwill against us. But we have to say no to this because it's just BS. There's no logic or rationale to it. But these are bad actors. I'm talking about Robin DiAngelo and this guy Kendi. His real name's Rogers, and Ibrahim Kendi. It's not his real name. His real name's Rogers, but X sounds more interesting. But these guys are not critical thinkers. They don't debate you. They won't debate other people that are real critical thinkers like Peter Boghossian, James Lindsay, Andrew Doyle, Douglas Murray, because they can't hold up to them. And so I wrote this book, and I'm a de facto intellectual like most comedians. We come up with enough good ideas, but what happened was during COVID, people got scared. They didn't want to talk about anything. And so, academics were worried about getting protested and kicked off universities, like what happened to Brett Weinstein at Evergreen College. And then you had scientists who were afraid of losing their research grants, and that was their money. And then you had doctors afraid of losing their medical licenses. So people shut up. And actors are always cowardly and don't want to talk. And I had it. I'd seen where this was coming, and I said, I'm going to talk about this stuff because it's important. And people, all the shows that I've been going to are sold out because people, they want to hear something that they're not able to hear on the captured media. I mean, unfortunately, during COVID, you had all the late-night hosts were all cowards, and none of them would speak their mind or question the government. You could literally exchange the jokes between Colbert and Jimmy Fallon and all of them and Jimmy Kimmel because they were all saying the same crap.
Right.
And it's like everybody knows it's just hogwash propaganda. And so, to go see, somebody, and you realize our media is captured. And the Facebook is captured. Facebook worked with the government. Then, Mark Zuckerberg apologized for it last week that, yes, he allowed the Biden administration to censor Americans who were telling the truth. And it's the same thing that what Twitter did, until Elon bought it, thankfully. And so we can't continue to go down this road where everything's captured. Up to 98% of academia are these illiberal liberals.
Rob, were you afraid in the beginning? Because, when you're speaking your mind like this, you can see how the mob will, they're going to cancel you. But
you know what, the mob isn't right. And when the mob is crazy, I mean, it's the old thing. We're like, let the truth come out, though the heavens burn. I mean, you have to let the truth come out. And people know that's not really a woman. The idea that men could compete against girls, it's stupid. Everybody knows it's stupid, but they're afraid of being canceled or whatever. And so what happens is then women are afraid to, they don't want to lose their scholarship, so they're competing against these narcissistic failed male athletes. It's enough of this crap. Americans know it's garbage, and thankfully enough states are wising up to it, but there are people being cowed, and that really is. And I talk about it in my book, You Can Do It, which is out today. Go to it on Amazon. Is that there was this Milgram study, which really kind of 65% of people will just do whatever the hell the government says. They just will. Up to 30% of them will be radically behind it, like the COVID people. And another 30% will just go along with it because it's easier. But it's 30% who says, no, that's enough. This is BS. We're not doing it. And so it's roughly that was what ended COVID, was 30% of Americans saying, no, we're not doing it.
Rob, you talked about writing this book, by the way, You Can Do It, Speak Your Mind, America. You said this was the most work that you have ever done in your life. What was your first job? Do you remember that?
Oh my God. My first job was working at an ice cream parlor called Farrell's at 15. But that was great. As soon as I was 15, I was able to get a car. I was able to go into San Francisco, which at that time was real, traditional, good liberalism, not what it is now, which is closed-minded, yelling you down, calling you a bad person if you disagree liberalism. And then I was able to go to this great bookstore, City Lights Books, and read about stuff. They printed their own books. It was the best bookstore in America. And of course, like a lot of institutions, they've been ideologically captured. So, I mean, but that was like, for me, eye-opening. And you have to, I would hope people would read the book and open up their minds to, and agree with some of the easy, basic themes of the book. Was like, we need free speech. The idea that you disagree with somebody means maybe there's a better idea you can come up with. It doesn't make you a bad person. And we have these bad faith actors who are trying to make you feel like you're a bad person.
That's it. I was at a baseball game with a friend of mine, and I tried to have just a regular conversation, and it turned into this argument, and it ended awkward. And I said, how did we get to this place right now where we can't have an exchange of ideas?
We're being manipulated by bad actors. And you see it you see it in the debate. You see it where, you have, and unfortunately, it's coming from the Democrats. And the Democrats used to be the party of the people. Now the Democrats have 70% of the wealth in America. The Democrats. They've been in control for most of the last 3 decades. So if there are problems, it's their fault. And now they want to make you convinced that it's, but they're trying to save democracy. Here's how they're trying to save democracy, Zito. In 2016, Bernie Sanders had enough votes to get the nomination, and the Democratic National Committee said, nope, we're going with Hillary Clinton. So that wasn't democratic, was it?
No.
That was authoritarian. In 2020, Biden lost the first 2 primaries. They let everybody drop out, and so nobody had a choice of who to vote for. You had to get behind Biden. And then, again, in 2024, 14 million Democrats voted for Biden, and they just disavowed and didn't care about any of those 14 million votes. And they just anointed Kamala.
Right.
And it's like, excuse me, that's not democracy. And so the idea is laughable. I mean, my friends in Europe can't believe the crap that's happening in America right now.
I got to tell you, Rob, I appreciate your courage. You can go to robschneider.com for tour dates near you. And, of course, the book, You Can Do It. Speak Your Mind, America. Pleasure talking to you, Rob. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zito. Appreciate it.
So you can pick up Rob Schneider's book, You Can Do It. Speak Your Mind, America came out back in October. Available on Amazon or wherever the hell you buy books these days. Interestingly enough, Rob Schneider grew up in San Francisco, very liberal, a registered Democrat back in 1984. He does talk a little bit about how it was different liberalism in San Francisco back when he was growing up. His mother was a teacher, and his father was in real estate. Rob said he always wanted to be an actor. Went to college at San Francisco State University. Talks fondly about his first job being at an ice cream parlor, which is kind of funny because Mr. Wonderful from the Shark Tank, that was his first job at an ice cream parlor. Again, I got to say, I do admire Rob Schneider. He kind of shifted gears. He kind of was provoked to speak out against censorship. So then he started leaning his comedy in that direction, which could have been dangerous. So I do admire Rob for doubling down and speaking his mind on issues he believes in. And definitely after this last political season, I do hope that we can find a way to be able to have real discussions with each other about certain things that we may not agree on. It used to be like that. And unfortunately, I can't say that to be true these days, but hopefully we can get there. Look for Rob Schneider touring near you on his website, robschneider.com. So thank you so much for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast. Follow on Instagram, celebrityjobber_podcast, or youtube.com/the@celebrityjobber. All past episodes are online, celebrityjobber.com, streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And please don't forget, subscribe. Would love a 5-star rating and leave a review. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving and Rob Schneider didn't come to your house to talk politics. Thank you so much again for listening. And until next week, I'm Jeff Zito. We'll see you then.